Here are my tips on finding the right yoga training for you. First thing I'd recommend is to get clear on why you would like to do a training. Your why will give you clarity on what. As you are clear, maybe you would like to train to become a yoga teacher. Maybe you'd like to do a training because you'd like to learn more about yourself, you'd like to learn more about yoga philosophy, maybe you want to go delve deeper into anatomy, you want to understand the body. What is it that you're looking for? If you want to train to be an amazing yoga teacher, then it would make sense for you to find a training that can actually deliver that outcome. If you're looking to do deep transformational work, if you'd like to heal something in your life, or you'd like to understand the workings of the mind, or understand more about life and the tools of yoga and yoga philosophy and the teachings of yoga to help you with that, and deep inner work and deep transformational work, then it would make sense then for you to find a training that can actually deliver that outcome. So first tip is to get clear on your why and match which training, the what training can deliver, to your why. My second tip is, if you would like to be an amazing yoga teacher, it would make sense that the yoga training should teach you how to teach. It shocks me that I've heard so many people come up to me in places like yoga conferences where we have a stand and people come up to the stand and come and talk to me and say, I've done a training but I can't teach. It just blows my mind that someone's done a training, they've spent the money, they've spent the time, they've traveled probably, normally somewhere where there's a beach type location, India, Bali, whatever, which is really cool, but then the training didn't cover the teaching part. They did maybe one practice teaching it. I know, sounds crazy, but that's how it is. And then they come out of the training and it's no surprise that they cannot teach. Of course, they don't have any confidence to teach. So if you're wanting to be an amazing yoga teacher, make sure the training has rigorous parts built into it, while it may be challenging during the training, and give you lots of support to develop you, to grow you to be this phenomenal yoga teacher. That is something that is inbuilt into our trainings. There's coaching, there's feedback, there's exercises that are crafted specifically to make sure that you leave the training, when we finish normally on a Sunday, the week after, I normally tell my graduates, go put your name down in auditions because you're ready to teach, right? Our people are ready to teach. So if you want to be able to teach, make sure your training can deliver that for you. If you'd like to create a yoga business after you've done the training, make sure the person teaching the training has actually set up a business and they're not just regurgitating something out of a textbook or just out of their head and head knowledge, but not actually having experienced it themselves, having built it themselves. You can't learn something from someone who hasn't done it, because where is that coming from, right? Where are they teaching you that from? So make sure if you're wanting to learn something from someone, that they've either learned it, they've experienced it, they've done the work themselves, they're living it, and then they can teach it to you. Learn from people who've already done and created what you want to create for yourself, whether it's in the business side, whether it's in the teaching side, whether it's in the transformation side. If you're looking for transformation, then make sure the person who's delivering the training can facilitate deep transformation or inner work. They themselves have done the work as a student, and they have actually trained in facilitating, and not only trained in it, but have the experience in holding the space and know how to facilitate someone's deep transformational process. A lot of people are talking about transformation because it's cool right now, but it's questionable whether they can deliver it. It's easy to open up a group, it's easy to open up a person into their deep stuff, but once the can is opened, you better be ready and know how to hold the space. So make sure if you're looking for transformation, then the program, the facilitator, the team can actually deliver it, and that they have a track record. Speaking of track record, brings me to my next tip. Make sure that you check out the testimonials. If you can, talk to past graduates and students and look at what they're doing. If you want to teach, then are their graduates actually teaching? If you want to set up a yoga business, are their graduates actually doing that? Have they set up yoga businesses? If you want to build a studio, have their graduates built studios? These are all things that our graduates have done. If you want to transform your life, are the graduates actually giving you testimonials that is real and saying, yeah, this program changed my life? Here's another thing that our people say all the time. In their own words, they'll categorically say, this program has changed my life. And can those people say that? And is it believable? Next tip is the program accredited? Now, this whole accreditation thing is funny business, because yoga doesn't fit in any box. So Yoga Alliance and all the alliances that are out there are simply just registries. They try and put out standards. They're trying to do the best to bring some standards to an industry that is not regulated, and that is good and bad. On one side, it allows us freedom to teach a whole plethora of stuff, like this whole range of amazing stuff that you can teach in a training. And then on the other side, it's unregulated. There's kind of no real standards out there. They're just, not real accreditation bodies, although they try and claim that they are. What I would suggest to you is check out the school and make sure they can deliver what they're saying that they can deliver. Go and check out their testimonials, look at what they're teaching. If they provide a mini course that you can go and check it out, like a weekend course or like a 3-day weekend course, which gives you a taster of the full training, and it's a fraction of the investment of the training, then that's worth doing. We certainly do that. I don't know if other people do that. I've seen a lot of open houses and things like that, which is really cool. That's great. But if you can you get a sampling of the full training? And do you align with the person and people teaching it and what they're actually teaching? Because if they're not, then why would you want to sign up to that training? If you don't align, then keep looking. Does online work? Well, for a long time, I was a proponent of online cannot work for yoga trainings. And then the gift of the pandemic was that it forced, every yoga training school out there to go online. And I still held the position that yes, online, and there must be an element of in-person. And actually, what I've stumbled upon is that our training is far more powerful now. The online element creates this amazing foundation, and you can be in any part of the world, log in, either do the live sessions and or the stuff on our portal. It gives you this amazing foundation to get you ready for the in-person part. I've maintained the in-person part right through the whole pandemic, right through the lockdowns. Our people who signed up waited until the lockdowns were over so that we could do the in-person. And I'm glad I did, because the in-person part is phenomenally powerful. What we do in our in-person part in the 9-day intensives, when you've done the first part and you've built the foundation coming into the 9-day intensive, that's where we get to jump in, go deep, do the deep transformational work. I get to work with you and shape you as an amazing teacher, or to leave you the result of deep transformation and healing. So for me, the answer is yes, online works, and also yes, online doesn't work completely. That's why we do in person. Here's another insight into yoga trainings and facilitators. Most trainings have been created by yoga studios that at some point run out of ways to create more revenue streams. So they have no choice, especially in the last few years with the pandemic and with lockdowns, they have to create a yoga training. And no one out there is training them to create trainings. No one is training the facilitators. There isn't a facilitator training. No one is training yoga training facilitators. So what happens is that you kind of just have to decide that you're ready. You kind of fumble around and try and work it out. And most yoga trainings are very textbook, because where else are the facilitators going to go? So they're going to look at textbooks. So most trainings kind of stop at that. They're very much textbook trainings. They're very much just kind of knowledge, which is awesome, it's great. And then there's a lot of filling up the gaps of anything and everything that they can think of. They're throwing it in there because that's their interest. And it's not really geared towards certain goals. So if the goal is to deliver deep transformation, can the facilitator actually facilitate it? Have they done the work themselves? Can they deliver it? Can they hold the space? And if it's creating amazing yoga teachers, then have they got a track record of doing that? Are they themselves amazing yoga teachers? Are you inspired by them? Can they actually teach the way you would like to teach? I mean, who are you learning from? And who you learn from, you're going to be a part of them. A piece of them is going to be passed down to you. So the facilitators make all the difference. So I recommend meeting them either virtually or in person and getting a vibe for them, getting a sense for them, and do you actually align with them? I'm all about alignment. If you don't align, then I would just say don't do it. And if you align with them, if you find someone that you really align with, like, sometimes I meet people and they're like, wow, this is amazing and this is what I want to do, and it's like, well, then why would you go anywhere else? You'd be crazy to go anywhere else. I hear people sometimes saying to me like, oh, it's the cost, or it's the time, or it's the this or that, and like, our minds make up all sorts of excuses. And sometimes people cut little corners and they say, oh, I'm just going to go for a slightly, cheaper training. And what I would say is that you get what you pay for. So if you're going for a cheap or a cheaper training, it's going to produce that kind of a yoga teacher. It's going to produce that kind of results. And I've always found that investing that little bit more gives you a huge amount more. So make sure you're not cutting corners. Check out your facilitators and go for the one that is completely aligned with you. So I hope that's useful. This is from my years of training teachers over the last 16 years. Since I came to London, set up my studio and started training yoga teachers. And the reason I created my trainings was because I wanted a certain quality of teachers that I myself would like to hire in my studio, because I knew that was the product for my studio. And I've learned over the years the things that work and the things that don't work. So what I'm sharing with you here is as impartial as possible. It may be right for you to come and consider our training. It might not be. You might not gel with me. You might not like my style. Or if you do, then I would just normally say, if people, align with what we're doing, then you're kind of crazy to go somewhere else. So I hope this helps. Find one that aligns with you, because it's a big decision and it has a potential to have a massive impact in your life and your trajectory, your journey from now on. So your first training or the next training that you do could change your trajectory, your path, your career, the results that you're getting, the kind of business that you can create, the impact that you can create in the world. So choose carefully, and I hope these tips have been useful to you.